Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Lily and I'm really glad you're here. So today we're talking about Daughter of No Worlds. And this is one of those books where while I was reading, I kept thinking, this feels like a fantasy romance, but it's really trying not to be one. Not in a way we usually expect, because the romance isn't loud, the magic isn't flashy, and the story isn't interested in giving you comfort quickly. Instead, it asks you to sit with longing, with restraint, with people who want things deeply and still choose not to reach for them. So today I want to talk about what this book is really doing, what the core of the story felt like to me, what worked incredibly well, and where I personally felt unsure or slightly lost. So let's get into it. Before we talk about the story itself, just a bit of context. Daughter of No Worlds is the first book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. It's fantasy romance, technically, but it leans much more into political fantasy, character trauma, and slow internal change than into romance or action. It was originally published in 2021 and later picked up by Tor Nightfire, which helped bring the series to a wider audience. The book is just under 500 pages long, and I'd say it takes roughly 12 to 14 hours to read, not because it's complicated, but because it's emotionally dense and very inward focused. If you enjoyed books like The Serpents and the Wings of Night, The Poppy War, or A Court of Silver Flames for their exploration of power, trauma and control, this might work really well for you, just in a much quieter, more restrained way. So now let's go to the spoiler-free summary. At the center of the story is Tisana. She has spent years living in a system that exploits her, years working toward one single goal: freedom. She saves, she endures, she obeys when she has to, and when she finally believes she's reached that goal, everything is taken from her again. That moment felt brutal to read, not because it's dramatic, but because it's so cruelly realistic. After escaping slavery, Tisana's goal is very clear. She wants to join the Order of the Arcanum. For her, the order represents legitimacy, freedom, and the chance to finally use her magic openly instead of having it controlled by others. The Order of the Arcanum is an organized institution, mages who study, regulate, and politically influence the use of magic in the world. They're powerful, respected, and deeply embedded in the political structure of the realm. For years, Tisana has believed that joining the order is the way to make her life matter, not for power, but for belonging, for protection, for the chance to help others instead of being used herself. And that's why reaching the order feels so important. It's not just a new place, it's the symbol of everything she's been working toward. And that's why her disappointment hits so hard, because even here power is complicated and freedom is not as simple as she hoped. And that's where the story does something really interesting, because the order isn't evil, but it also isn't what she imagined. There are rules, politics, hidden power structures, and people who believe they're doing the right thing even when the outcome hurts others. This is where she meets Max. What held me under constant tension while reading was the relationship between Tisana and Max. Not because of romance in the usual sense, but because of what they represent to each other. Max has withdrawn from the world. He carries immense guilt over what he's done in the past. He has isolated himself emotionally and believes that stepping away is the only way to prevent further harm. And Tisana is the exact opposite. She has every reason to stop believing, every reason to give up, and yet she doesn't. She adapts, she keeps moving, she still believes that things can change and that people are worth fighting for. And that belief slowly, quietly starts to pull Max back toward the world. Not through big speeches, not through romance tropes, but through presence, through her refusal to become bitter, through her determination to keep going. What makes their dynamic so powerful is that neither of them ever claims the other. Max wants to protect her deeply, instinctively, but he also knows what uncontrolled power can do. He knows what entities like Richer are capable of, and because of that, he does something that feels incredibly rare in fantasy. He lets her go, even when it hurts, even when he's terrified of what might happen to her, even when he knows he might lose her. And that restraint, that choice was one of the most emotionally charged parts of the book for me. To Richer and the inner pressure. Richer adds a constant layer of tension to the story, not just as a source of power, but as a presence. Richer reacts, judges, interferes. At times it even feels possessive, almost jealous. And what unsettled me was how unclear Richer's nature remains. Is it male? Is it female? Something else entirely? The book never fully answers that, and I think that's intentional. What matters is how Richer changes the emotional stakes, because once Richer is part of Tisana, nothing feels fully safe anymore. Not her thoughts, not her choices, not even her feelings. I also really appreciated the side characters. Max's friend, who keeps returning even when Max doesn't reach out. Then the awkward, well-meaning apprentice who brings a surprising amount of warmth and humor. The strict order figures who clearly carry their own histories, even if we never fully learn them. And the moment with the transformed bird, which felt like such a quiet but painful metaphor that sometimes getting what you wish for still comes at a cost. Those details made the world feel human, not just magical. To my impressions and critique, I loved how emotionally grounded this book felt. I loved Tisana as a protagonist. Her resilience never felt performative, it felt earned. That said, I'll be honest, there were moments where I felt slightly lost. The magic system, especially surrounding Richer, can feel vague. At times I wanted just a bit more grounding, not full explanations, but enough to feel anchored. Listening to this as an audiobook probably amplified that feeling for me. Still, those moments didn't outweigh the emotional impact. Before I wrap this up, I do want to say this clearly. Daughter of No World is not a light read. The book deals very openly with enslavement, physical punishment, systemic exploitation, and the long-term effects of violence. None of this is written in a sensational way, but it is present, and it can be heavy. So if you're in a phase where you're looking for comfort reads or something purely escapist, this might not be the right book for you right now. But if you're okay sitting with difficult themes and you appreciate fantasy that doesn't shy away from the darker parts of survival and power, this book handles those topics thoughtfully. I just wanted to mention that so you know what kind of emotional space this story lives in. When I finished Daughter of No Worlds, I didn't feel comforted. I felt thoughtful, quietly affected. This is not a book that rushes to reassure you. It sits with longing, with restraint, with the idea that doing the right thing often means choosing the harder path. So if you're looking for fast pacing, constant action, or clear-cut answers, this might not work for you. But if you enjoy fantasy that explores power, agency, and connection in a slow, deliberate way, this book might really stay with you. And yes, I will absolutely continue this series. So let me know in the comments whether you've read Daughter of No Worlds and how you felt about Tisana and Max. And if you haven't read it yet, tell me whether this sounds like your kind of story. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. So keep reading, keep imagining, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.